Hey traders, welcome back to another Sunday special where I take a look at the markets and we take a look at some of the most moving or most interesting currency pairs going into the week, and I talk about some trade ideas and some analysis points that I am personally looking at before the market opens. I'm a little bit later today than usual. Just got back from a trip this weekend, so I'm still made it just a little bit later than usual. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. I'd like to take a look at EURUSD for starters here, as we have got some interesting stuff going on here. What you'll notice is that for the most of the week last week, EURUSD actually was just back and forth. We really just saw this basic kind of back and forth price action until towards the end of the week Friday there. We got a little bit more strength on the euro as we push higher here. Very, very interesting to see such a thing. But if we drop it actually back to the 4-hour chart, you can see that it looks like price wants to make another move here to the previous structure highs to maybe at least retest them. Now, I want to caution people who have been watching this because we've actually been range bound on the 4-hour chart for some time here on EURUSD. You'll notice we've had multiple times where prices come up into this area and only found nothing but resistance. So I would caution traders who are looking at this, if you're super bullish on the euro, something to at least consider is watch how price reacts to this area here going into this week, as it is very possible that we could hit another top here and we could actually see a full-blown reversal. Now we have to be careful here because to me, watching EURUSD, we've just been back and forth mostly for a few weeks here, maybe 2 or 3 weeks here. We haven't seen a lot of progression either direction. So when we look at this from the bigger picture here on the daily chart, you can see there it is just kind of chopping around. But on this 4-hour chart, one thing to at least consider in my view is watching for the break either direction. Now it does look like we're closer to the top side and we have this longer term uptrend here on EURUSD. So it would be an interesting thing to watch out for, the potential break, retest, and trend continuation play there on EURUSD. But going into this week, again, we'll see how this resistance level reacts. If it does hold, right? Same thing applies on the bottom side. So looking for the break underneath structure where we could actually see a bigger full-blown reversal here on EURUSD. Some things to watch out for. Really, when we're back and forth like this, there's no clear direction in my view until we see a significant break either direction. Next, let's take a look at pound dollar really quick, which is a little bit different in the sense that we have seen a break on the 4-hour chart. So this level of resistance, similar to on EURUSD, we were back and forth for a while, right? Lots of support down here until recently we broke through the top side of that, which was right around here, right? We had some resistance, and there on Friday, we actually closed above on that 4-hour chart and then closed strong really into the end of the week, which is a big deal and I think could signal some more strength for the pound here in the short term. Again, the trend is up. We got a lot of momentum to the upside, and we have broken a key level of resistance here. So we'll be watching that level. Some ideas from me, some very basic ones, are looking for the retest there and looking for the continuation. I really like that play, and I think that that is possible to see this week, especially if the US dollar catches a bounce. We could see things like GU take a little bit of a pullback here in the grand scheme of the uptrend there. Dollar yen is next, and you can actually see dollar yen fell off a cliff there on Friday as price came up to this point. We basically saw price make its move up to right around the 106.8 level before dropping really sharply here on Friday. Now the 4-hour chart looking interesting as well, but the daily chart is really the interesting point to me because you can actually see a nice, what do you call that, bearish engulfing candlestick pattern right there, which is really interesting and could actually lead to a little bit more sell side in my view, maybe even to retest this low. And if we really see momentum pick up, could we head back to the lows there that we formed back in March? We'll see. It should be interesting to watch as the trend here does continue to the downside. Let's actually draw in a trend line really quick. Got some really basic trend line concepts here and also here. Right, we've got some downtrend structure there, and overall still a sell bias here on USDJPY as price is still showing lots of bearishness on that US dollar for the time being. We'll see if that changes, but for now, that's what I'm looking at. GBPJPY is going to be our next one. I did want to pull this one up because we saw a pretty good rally, and as we talked about the yen last week, we talked a lot about the yen, and the yen has been very, very interesting to watch. It's been doing some really big swings lately as people have actually been selling off the yen in favor of other currencies. Now you can see here it is reflected on the GJ as we see the pound being preferred over the yen. Is that set to continue? I would say most likely yes, just because that trend is pretty strong here on the daily chart. You can actually see lots of uptrend structure here as we broke through some key levels. We talked about this level back in a few episodes earlier of this. We saw the breakout and we've seen that continuation just as we had anticipated. And now the big question here is, are we going to make a run up to some key structure such as this level? Now, it may seem pretty far away, but when a trend keeps going, when a trend wants to keep going, it can really keep going. And you can see right here, we did get a nice little bullish cross at the 50, or sorry, I believe, is that the 20 or the 50? I changed it. Yeah, it's the 20. So the 20 traveled back above the 200 here, showing a lot of momentum shift, right? We can actually see it just from the price action as well. But we do have this kind of trend line where we've just seen some structure here on the 4-hour chart that's held pretty nicely. So we got that long-term trend breakout. We've seen the continuation on this trend line. And to me, still set to be continuing in this overall uptrend on GBPJPY. Looking for some pullbacks this week might be interesting, right? The trade idea that I like here is potentially a pullback to this trend line in combination potentially with some of this market structure that we do see here formed at previous resistance. So a couple things to look at there on GBPJPY. Next up is AUDUSD, which this one's just been a rocket ship. We saw a lot of bullish momentum here this week. Really nothing too much from me here in terms of buying this thing right now because we do seem a bit stretched to the upside, but looking for the opportunities on a pullback could actually yield some pretty good setups. And that is more what I'm interested in, is looking for the pullback here on some of these concepts. Now, what's interesting here is we got so bullish here that we actually broke the upper bound of this supportive trend line here, right? So we've had this kind of channel back and forth. We broke that on AUDUSD. So there might even be the opportunity to look for shorter term plays off of a retest of that level, just kind of going off of that runaway train idea here on AUDUSD. Guys, that's what I've got so far for my trade ideas this week. I hope that you got something out of this video. If you did, please subscribe. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up down below. I really do appreciate that support here on YouTube. So thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you the rest of this week.